All right, for the precepts, I will probably allow you to have some information about this EnWiFi app and how we actually use it in this training, so that you will get familiarized how easily this app can actually help you in the event when you're actually on the site itself. Right. So basically, EnSky Solutions, this is the introductions. We are talking about the Easy Master, the SkyKey controller, as well as the EnWiFi app, the managed switch, and the wireless access point. So mainly the EnWiFi app caters more for the access point when you're over at the site. So it actually caters for the device configuration and discovery. How do you actually discover the device, and how you can actually facilitate the EnWiFi app to assist you when you're over at the site. Right. Basically, the EnWiFi apps helps you to know the status of the access point, whether it can be managed, and how do you actually monitor and manage the access point on the site itself. So sometimes over at the site, when things are not convenient, such as the PC, you can actually use your mobile phone with this EnWiFi app to actually assist you in the configuration at the site itself. All right, so basically this is the screenshot of the EnWiFi app that allows you to configure the access point. All right, you can have group settings and even the model selection and how you can actually configure each and every one, regardless of the access point that you have. Right, so these are the models that we can actually been using it, and we have actually tested it, the NJet models. So you can actually even do a deployment with just the EnWiFi over at the site. I've actually validated this as I've actually done an actual site test over in China, and that was before the Wuhan virus. That was last year. So we have actually done mainly with just the EnWiFi application without any DHCP server that is actually located over at the site. So it actually helps a lot when you are at remote area where there is no internet access and the AP doesn't allow any forms of remote to get into it. So the EnWiFi app actually allows me to configure the access point and even do the changes over at the site itself. All right, so basically it has itself a discovery tool, and then if the area itself have multiple different devices, you will actually be able to see all the devices that is in the area. Right, it will also allows you to know the status of the equipment and how well the connection are, and also the quality of the signal. So the EnWiFi is not just monitoring tools, it actually allows you to also have more tests that can be conducted. You can actually do ping tests and even the speed tests. All right. So at this point, you can also do a backup of a configuration and restore the configuration if you do need to do a replacement and with the same configuration. You can actually do such a facilitation as well. So it is a very handy tool which allows you to not just monitor, configure, but at the same time, it also allows you to do backup and restore. All right, as you can see in the list over here, these are the models that actually supports EnWiFi. We have all the EWS series, the indoor model, which is EWS 330AP, 355, 360, 371, 375, 385, and the newer ones, the AX, which is the 357 and 377. And the other EWS series is the wall plate, which is the EWS 550, and the outdoor currently that we have is the EWS 660 and EWS 860. So take note that almost the full range of the EWS series can be used with the EnWiFi app. Right. Other than that, the N-Turbo series, we have the EAP1250, EAP1300, and the EAP1300 along with the EAP1750. So take note of all this, as these are the series that you will want to use the EnWiFi to configure the access point. All right, next we have the outdoor series, which is the ENS202EXT V2, the ENS620EXT, the ENH1350EXT, and the ENH1750EXT. So these are the outdoor models that you might find handy, because these are mainly used when you are configuring system that is of a longer distance. So when you are using the EnWiFi app, this will actually allows you not to bring bulky items such as your notebook to actually configure when you're at the site. And this basically allows you, because why? Well, the simplicity is you do not need to connect a physical cable to the equipment in order to configure it. Right. The other model that we have is the ENS 500, ENS 500 ACV2, ENH 500 V3, and the N Station series, which is the ACV2 and the N Station 5 ACV2. These are all configurable with the EnWiFi app as well. All right. So basically, we'll be doing some demonstrations on how to actually use the EnWiFi to configure the setups, such as a point-to-point link. Okay, I will move over to the next screen. Okay, so right now, this is the screen that I have that is using my mobile phone. I've actually configured the setup. You basically need to install the EnWiFi app. You double click it, and you can actually see that I have actually got a connection to one of the APs. So this is basically why the simplicity is that right now, I'm going to show you that I'm actually connected to my office network, and I'm having this IP subnet. Okay. So what is happening right now is that when I toggle the EnWiFi app, even though I'm not connected via its management SSID, so long as the AP is having a same AP in the same subnet, I will be able to actually link to this particular AP via the EnWiFi app. So you can see that once I click, I'm actually into the details of the AP already. And it's actually telling you what operation mode it is and what IP it has. And it is actually internet ready, as you can see over here in this screen. So to configure, basically you just need to click on the configuration button at the bottom, and that's where you begin with your configuration. You can actually select your country region. All right, you can actually just scroll up and down. And let's say right now I'm in Singapore. I'll select Singapore, and it will not be applied until you click on this apply button, which is on the top right corner. All right, so you can see that the current modes that it has on the EnWiFi is that it supports access point, WDS access point, WDS station, and client bridge. All right, so do take note of this. So you can also select the modes that we have. Basically, currently the one that I have, the ENS 500 ACV2, it is a NJET model. So it will actually allows you to toggle the NJET function, because NJET is basically running TDMA. So if you do not need to have this TDMA, you can actually turn it off by a click. And that will actually allows the unit to run as a CSMA format. So over here, basically the SSID, you can also do your adjustment over here to enable the SSID. And if you click on it, you can actually change the SSID immediately from here. Okay, right now maybe I just want to change it to EnGenius TDMA. Right, so I want to enable the NJET. Okay, security. You may want to select WPA PSK, and you have the password over here. All right, so with this, once you click on the apply button, you will actually apply it to the AP immediately. So right now it's still on default. I can ignore. So now you actually throw the configuration over to the access point. All right. All right, so it'll take a while for it to actually throw the changes over to the access point before you actually get started. Right, so one thing to take note, if let's say you're on the remote site, how are you going to connect to the access point? All right, what's going to happen, which I'm going to show you over here, is that there's actually a default SSID that is a broadcast. So this broadcast SSID is actually known as the End Management SSID. All right. So the SSID actually allows you to connect to the access point using which itself will broadcast, and then there's a default password that you need to key in, which is 1234567 to connect to the access point. All right, so do not take this as a DHCP server, but by itself, this end management simply is to allow the mobile phones to connect to it wirelessly, so you can actually use the EnWiFi app to manage it. Right, so you can see right now, the access point that I've made the changes earlier on. Okay, and you can see that these are the changes that I've done. Right, the country, the NJET I've actually maintained, but I've actually changed the SSID as well as the password. So all this will actually be applied directly to the device immediately. So right now, what I'm going to do next is to change and connect, doing a point-to-point bridge using TDMA. So I'm going to change and demonstrate how am I going to do that, because I've actually run another device and it will prompt. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and I'll get connected. So I'll do a quick demonstration. It will actually gives me an IP address. All right, and whatever it is, even though if you have any internet connection, you will still not be connected to it. So I'm going to turn on. So you can see the previous device, which is the access point, no longer appears in my connected list. So now I'm going to do a point-to-point link. So using TDMA, the point-to-point link is that what is important is you will need to have a access point mode, and then you have a client bridge mode, or you can have a WDS AP and a WDS station. And only in this format, you will be able to link it up using TDMA. So right now I'm going to make some changes over here and to get the connection up. First, I will change my country to Singapore, and I'll have to change my mode to client bridge. And the next thing, I will apply it first. All right. So we have actually added some new features in the firmware, which will always prompt you to actually to make your changes to your password when you first log into it. All right. So we'll have to wait for a while when the device boot up, and connect back to the same SSID, the EnManagement SSID. Okay, we should be getting it up. All right, now it's up. So at this point, it is on a client bridge mode. And what we need to do is to actually connect to the AP. So in order to do it, we use the site survey tools, which is in the tools, to scan around the surrounding. And we will want to connect. As you can see, these tools comes in very useful because once you actually do a scan, you can actually scan the surrounding or the probable interference within the surrounding itself. So right now I want to connect to this. Okay, so it's EnGenius TDMA, which I've actually set, and the SSID. All right, it's out. So I can check, and I have to put in the password and save. Okay, once that is done, I'll just apply to save the changes. Right, we'll have to go through this cycle because each time when we apply all the changes, it will actually send the changes over to the access point or to the device, and it will reboot. So it takes about a minute or two. So you can see once I'm actually disconnected from the access point, my Wi-Fi will actually disconnect. All right, you can see over this top panel. All right, and I'll wait for the EnManagement to connect. Okay, while waiting, if we are here, you can see my camera. I've actually got the EnWiFi, the access point here. So when actually there's a connection connected, you can see that the LED on the panel of the ENS 500 AC, it will actually be lighted up to show you the indications of the signal strength or the connectivity between the client bridge we have actually configured that is connected to the access point, which is actually on another location. Let's see, this is up. Now you can see that both the APs, which is one is the client bridge, which originally is this first one, and the client bridge over here have actually connected successfully to the access point already. So in order to verify it, you can actually manage both devices at the same time, all right, using the EnWiFi. So you can actually see this is the client bridge that is actually connected to the access point with the signal strength. And other than that, you can actually do a tools to actually do a ping test, right? So what is the access, the other device, 118. So let's get over to this and use the ping tools to do a ping test. So you can actually use that to do a ping test. And it actually gives you a response of the ping that is being done at the point itself. So you actually get the actual reading of the ping test, which is the wireless device connection over at that point. All right. Other tools that you can do is you can actually do a speed test, and it's the same. You just need to input the IP address, and you can actually run the speed test within the two devices itself. All right, so you can see that is the speed test that is being done, carried out successfully, and the speed that you are obtaining right now is about 160 megabytes per second. Okay, so other than that, I think the EnWiFi apps is actually very easy to use. As you can see, I've actually demonstrated within 10 minutes. I've actually done a setup on both ends, how to get a point-to-point connection up using TDMA. So do take note that while running TDMA, you need to ensure that you need to have a host. Host is normally an access point mode, all right? So that you can actually apply the TDMA to work properly. Okay, from here, I think I would end, and I'll be ready to actually to answer the questions. So you may want to type the questions that you have in your mind, and I'll answer them. All right. Any questions from everyone? You can type it in the Zoom chat group chat, or you can PM me directly. Client bridge is repeater. No, client bridge is not repeater. Client bridge is basically like our PC that's always looking out for the host to connect. All right, repeater is a different format, because repeater by itself means that it connects at the same time it broadcasts to allow the extension of the Wi-Fi signal to probably those areas that are blind spot. But why your phone still can access to the client bridge? Okay, how am I accessing it to the client bridge is because I'm connecting it via the N management SSID. All right, this N management SSID doesn't relate to what mode it is. It can be station, it can be WDS station, it can be WDS AP, and it basically allows you to connect so that you can use the EnWiFi app to manage the device. Another question, will EasyMaster override an EnWiFi app? Okay, EasyMaster on its own is a controller. So it doesn't manage once the AP is managed under EasyMaster, your EnWiFi app will not be able to manage the access point. So you need to make sure that while you're doing all this configuration, you have to understand the access point being managed via a standalone, or it is managed via the EasyMaster controller. What will be the approximate distance to connect EnWiFi app with our AP? Okay, this is a very good question. Due to the fact that this is being broadcast, okay, the AP itself that is broadcasting the N management SSID, the distance is not very far. So it's probably about 10 meters, right? Take note of that. It is about 10 meters only in clear line of sight. So I've actually did one of the tests while I was in China. There's actually a tower that is about 50 meters high. So when I'm trying to get the equipment to connect to the mobile phone to connect to the N management SSID, basically I'm not able to because it's too far away. So take note of this particular area. When you're trying to work on this EnWiFi app, make sure the distance is not too far away. But on the other factor is I realize is the tower on top, which is about 50 meters, is a metal structure. So that may have actually caused the distance to be shortened further. Okay, but if the device is operating under access point mode, and you know what is the, and if you know what is the SSID and the password, then it will be easier for you to actually connect to the AP, and that will actually allows you to manage the access point easier, more easily, I would say that. Okay, because the Wi-Fi that is broadcast via the access point, it will actually be a longer distance or a broader spectrum as compared to the N management SSID. So as you can see right now is, once I'm hooked up to either one of the units, I will be able to actually manage both the access point. Okay, so any more questions? Okay, the maximum EnWiFi application can be the configuration of access point. Are you referring to the number of access point that the EnWiFi application can configure? All right, if you are referring to the number of access point that the EnWiFi can configure, is actually how big your network is. Once it's hooked up, you can actually see every single one of the access point in the EnWiFi app. Okay, the other question that I've just missed out is that it is really a good tool to connect AP without breaking the link. Yes, basically when you do not break the link, you will not have any issues in configuring the access point. All right, another question is, the EnWiFi app is used to a standby device and can be monitored through EnWiFi app. Okay, the EnWiFi app is not it's a tools that can use to connect and monitor. But if you want to have a full-fledged continuous monitoring of all the access point, then you probably might want to use something like the Easy Master or the controller switch, which will monitor everything that is in all right, sorry. All right, basically what is happening is that if I'm doing this, I will not be able to so-called to understand, sorry, okay. Wait, let me see the question again. All right, it's not a standby. So when you want to use the EnWiFi app, basically this is a tools for you to actually configure the AP. But do take note, when we are configuring the AP, this is a one-by-one AP configuration. It's not a continuous. Okay? All right, so EnWiFi basically on premises itself, you will need to configure the AP only on one-by-one. Any other questions? Means no cloud remote feature. Cloud is different. This is not cloud. Basically, this is more for on-premises management when you're at the site itself. Okay, guys, take note of this. The EnWiFi app is mainly to allow you to have a simplified configuration at the point at the site itself. All right, when we are talking about cloud, basically you are not physically at the remote site. So to configure the APs at the remote site, you need all these tools to actually help you to do your configuration, or even to do the monitoring, or even to do your diagnostic. So the EnWiFi app is handy due to the fact is, when you have the access point at the site itself and you're having some trouble, you can actually use just your mobile phone with the EnWiFi app to go to the site to do a quick diagnosis, or even to do a brand new setup at the site itself. In this way, you will have the advantage of not carrying your notebook or whatever, or even to connect a cable directly to the access point to make a configuration. Because what you see in the EnWiFi app is what you get exactly the same that is on the GUI of the product itself. How we should block any AP which is not connected to the internet? What do you mean by block any AP? Could you elaborate on this? Or are you trying to prevent the AP that is not going to that is not supposed to be connected to the internet. Okay, if you want to block an AP which is not connected to the internet, probably you will want to use the blacklist option or the whitelist option. So it depends on how you're going to facilitate the blocking of the user or probably the device that is connected to the AP or the physical AP itself. Any more questions? Support mesh network? Okay, mesh network can only be configured using the Easy Master, or if it is in standalone mode, via the AP GUI. Currently, it's not available on the EnWiFi, but we are going to add this feature in the future. Okay, if no questions, I will end the webinar. And thank you, everybody, for your support and attendance. All right, thank you, everybody. All right, see you. Bye.